To go, Patrick Ewing ignited the crowd with this emphatic stuff. Take a listen. So Patrick Ewing, 8 of 11 from the field, 16 points, 6 rebounds, and Scottie Pippen, right after that play, limped back to the bench. Let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, Marv, I just spoke with Scottie Pippen. He said that he twisted his ankle a little bit when he's trying to contest the shot. He came over and stretched it out a little bit, and he's fine, and is still in the game. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, Scottie Pippen has been bothered by a bad back as of late, although we chatted with him prior to the game, and he said not that bad because there have been some suggestions perhaps he should sit out a game or two, and I'm wondering if he feels it might affect the run for the possibility of 70 wins, but he said no, he's all right.
He does act like he wants to play in all 82 games this year. Almost a good defensive play by Patrick Ewing, but Scottie has not shot the ball well in the last 9 games. There's 35% and 2 for 8 in this one.
Shot clock is at 6. Coming up on 3 minutes to go in the half. Knocked away from Jordan. A pass behind him. Davis putting the move on Hoffer. And it's an offensive foul. Hubert Davis called for the charge. And for Davis, his first foul. So the Bulls get it back. The Knicks 50 and the Bulls 37. The Knicks have led by as many as 17. The Bulls went on a run. Hot shooting first half by the Knicks. 14 of 20 in the first quarter. They're at 61% for the half.
And part of the reason for that 13-point lead, I mentioned Pippen 2 for 8. Dennis Rodman only 2 rebounds.
Hoffer was stopped, but good recovery by Ron Hoffer, tying up Anthony Mason. All right, for more on Scottie Pippen, let's get back to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, Marv, Scottie has been bothered with all kinds of, you guys were saying, all kinds of little nagging injuries, which has prohibited him from practicing like he wanted to practice. And he feels like his whole rhythm and his style and everything is off from the game. So he really needs to play more in games to try to get his rhythm back and get back to his shooting touch that he had before all those injuries. Marv?
All right, and Pippen with only 4 points. As you mentioned, Matt, in this first half, just 2 of 8. He went 1 for his first 6. Knicks by 13 with 2.5 to go in the first half. Mason lost it. Here comes Hopper, 3 on 2, and then pulls it back. Deflected out by Derek Hopper of the Knicks.
And another reason for the 13-point lead for New York, they are playing with a great deal of emotion, which you would expect in the first home game under that man, Jeff Van Gundy. And the Bulls look like a team that has 54 wins, that feels like they can push that button whenever they want. Just a little bit lethargic right now. I'm sure they'll hear about it at the halftime from Phil Jackson. He probably hasn't anything to yell about in about 2 months.
Oh, he'll find some things. Nice play by Davis, tipping it, but could not be handled. And it will be Chicago ball. We have seen the Bulls from time to time have this type of game and then come back strong in the second half.
Well, the other night against Detroit, after 3 quarters, a very close ball game. Not that Detroit was playing particularly well. It was just kind of both teams banging away at each other. And then all of a sudden, bam, the Bulls turn it on.
And a holding foul called on the inbound. It is on Anderson, so that means a 2-shot foul. Michael Jordan will go to the line. Coming up at halftime, Bob Costas with Julius Erving. Jay Vesey. Look at scores and highlights from around the NBA. Michael Jordan, 3 of 3 at the foul line. J.R. Reed, who's had a strong first half, back on the floor. 4 for 4 from the field, 8 points, 5 rebounds for Reed. Talking about the possibility of winning 70 games, the Bulls have to finish at least 16-6 to make it to 70. You look at the schedule, it is in sight. A very favorable schedule for the Bulls, particularly in the month of March. 10 of their 14 games are at home. Wednesday they're home for the Bullets, or is it the Wizards, man? And Friday home for the Nuggets. Overall, including shooting today. 11 home games, 11 on the road to close out the regular season. Pippen for 3. And Reed with the rebound. It has been a very quiet first half for Dennis Rodman.
And Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan doing all of the scoring with 17 points. In the early part of the game, Pippen was, the Bulls on the break, but Pippen was getting some inside position against smaller players.
Scottie trying to shoot his way back into it.
He'd be better off going inside to get his shooting rhythm back with a couple of layups.
Longley. Oh! Rebounded by Rodman. And Rodman will pop. Bad shot by Dennis Rodman. And he hears it from the crowd.
Well, he's just trying to do something to get the Bulls ignited. He's trying to hustle up, get some rebounds, make a shot, push and bang on defense to get the team fired up.
Mason going at Rodman with the head fake. And back comes Pippen. Scottie Pippen. 3 of 11 for Scottie Pippen. Only 6 points. He does have 4 assists. And the Bulls have cut it to 10. And that call away from the ball. Mason and Rodman in a conversation. And Bill Oakes calling the foul on Rodman. The second. Chicago has trailed at the half in only 16 games this season. They're down by 10 with a half minute to go, first half. Davis on the quick release. Jordan looking over at Phil Jackson, who wants a 20. And we get the call of the 20-second timeout with 16 and 6/10 seconds to go in this first half.
Well, the Knicks have to be very happy with their first half, but one word of caution, which Jeff Van Gundy, I'm sure, will point out, is, hey, guys, we have this lead, but we made an awful lot of jump shots in the early part of the game to get that lead. That might not necessarily hold. They still have to go inside to Patrick Ewing and also inside to Anthony Mason, who can score on Dennis Rodman on the inside. And, of course, Phil Jackson has a bundle of things to talk to his team about at halftime, mainly with just the way that they came out and approached this game. You'll remember when the Miami Heat had made a trade a couple of weeks ago, and a whole bunch of new players came in, and the Bulls went down there and expected just the Miami Heat to roll over, and they beat them in that ball game, mainly, though, with a barrage of three-point shots, mainly by Rex Chapman.
And that the Bulls' last loss, February 23rd in Miami, 113-104. They have won 6 straight since then. Jeff Van Gundy looking to put John Starks back on the floor. The difference here tonight for the Knicks, aside from the good shooting, they have looked very aggressive. It's been a high-energy performance, something that we have rarely seen of the New York Knicks this season. It has happened from time to time. In the early going, they came up with victories over most of the good teams. Their most impressive win was a game in Seattle led by Patrick Ewing, who had a 41-point game as they beat the Sonics in Seattle. So there were good moments. And this is a team that at one point, 30-16, then Charles Oakley went down, and I had the feeling they were using it as a crutch, because last year when Oakley went down, the Knicks continue to win. But this season they're 4-10.
Also compounded by Ewing's injury to his ankles and John Starks. That's 3 key players.
Jordan. It's down to an 8-point Knick lead with 4/10 of a second remaining in the half. Here's Hoffer. So Michael Jordan, the high man, with 19 on 7 of 15 shooting. Patrick Ewing leading the Knicks with 16. John Starks has 10, as Michael Jordan just does get it off before the end of the half. The Knicks led by as many as 17. They're up by 8. Bob Costas and the Prudential halftime report in a moment.